throughout our 25 years of being married together, he definitely has had a big impact in my life. But I think really the greatest one is to remind me always that of the priorities in life, which one should go first: God, family, and then work. He constantly reminds me to put things in perspective and always to make sure that when I do things with joy and with great love and passion. So for me, that's the biggest impact he's had in my life.
It's cliche, but Jayvee is really like a brother to me. We've known each other for well over 30 years. We are both from the Green School in our elementary years, and then moved to the best school for high school and college. It was in college when I started getting close to Jayvee because we would cut a lot of classes. However, it was in Bangkok when we really got close because we both lived there and worked there for a few years. And it was also there where Jayvee introduced me to the brotherhood, attending the very first breakfast.
He gave us at least 50% of his genes.
But 98% in Bea's. Including really bad alcohol allergies. He also provides for us.
Yeah.
Yay! Makis!
Isang kaibigan, kay daming pinagsamahan. We all started when we were in first year high school. First day, Jayvee became a gift to me, opening up opportunities for me to become an Athenian and a classmate and a good friend.
I still remember one of our conversations in Malaysia, Jayvee, wherein you were giving me life advice and you were really a voice of reason. Pang-orasyo imperata talaga.
Jayvee and I, ever since we were young, we have formed a certain bond between the two of us. It was actually reinforced when we went to the same college and I was adopted to his college group. So since then, we have been really very close. He has always loved our family, and the qualities that I admire the most about Jayvee is really his love for family, for God, for his friends. He always has also had that integrity in him, and although he is quiet, he shows his love for all of us in his own way.
Dennis, pa-unmute lang. Dennis.
Good evening and welcome to Season 2 of BCBP Mission Go Live. If you are at the stage of your life where you feel depleted, stressed, and burdened, if you had been too busy climbing up the corporate ladder and found out that it's leaning on the wrong wall, if you are feeling empty and devoid of your purpose, then I invite you to listen to the story of a business executive who, in the middle of his crisis, found solace, strength, and answered prayers when he aligned his goals and efforts to his Creator's purpose. Jesus said that whoever drinks the water that he shall give will never thirst. He is the living water, and we bring him to you through the stories of people whose thirst he has quenched. I am your host, Dennis Bunye, and this is Thirsty Thursdays. First of all, a big shout out to all of you watching us live and for those of you watching the replay. Hello to all our BCBP Alabang members and all BCBP community members out there. And most especially, hello to our family and friends. Please subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for BCBP Alabang. And remember to give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for notifications. I am Dennis Bunye. I am a professional life and corporate coach and a proud member of the BCBP, the Brotherhood of Christian Businessmen and Professionals, Alabang chapter. This Go Live online series is one way that we live out our BCBP mission of bringing Christ to the marketplace and winning the marketplace for Christ. And for this season, let us witness how God works through the lives of people, stories of real life made inspiring by the touch of God. To all our viewers, please chime into tonight's conversation and type in your questions, comments, and insights. Now, he is a marketer for brand management and retail marketing in fast-moving consumer goods and in-store marketing services. He is currently the Vice President for Corporate and Consumer Marketing for Sea Oil Philippines. But most especially, he is the loving husband to Shai and a loving father to Nikki, Alex, Bea, Ramon, and Anika. Let us all welcome Jayvee de la Fuente.
Hey Dennis, good evening. Hi everyone,
Hi.
good evening. Haba ng introduction, dami ko kasing anak eh.
I hope I got it right, in order, Jayvee. Nice to have you here, Jayvee.
Nice to see you, Dennis.
Yeah.
Kamusta?
Thank you for being our guest tonight. We're good, Jayvee. And Jayvee, you are a role model to a lot of us here in BCBP Alabang. And we look up to you because of the way that you have been serving the Lord through our community. Talaga namang all out and full out, diba? And as a business executive and a member of top management, I know that it's not easy to balance family, time, work, and at the same time, serve the Lord at this level. Now, for me, your leadership is admirable, and the way that you give us pastoral care is truly spirit-led. No, how did you get to this deep level of commitment of serving the Lord? How did it begin?
Well, long story, Dennis, no? Long story, but siguro it evolved over time. It took a very long time. I mean, it didn't happen overnight naman eh. In fact, when we first joined BCBP back in 2005, we were very quiet members. We were happy just to join our action group meetings, ganyan, but we were never really very active. And then as a family, we were posted in Bangkok 2 years after we joined BCBP. So medyo BCBP took a backseat. And it was only when I was called again to join BCBP in Bangkok back in 2015, that was really when we started serving.
Oh. So you were an expat then when you were in Bangkok, diba?
Yes. So we first moved to Bangkok in 2007.
Okay. How were you and your family then before you entered the BCBP in Bangkok?
Bangkok was a very pleasant experience for the whole family. We really enjoyed it. It was a different experience for us. Different country. It was an enjoyable experience. In fact, most of my kids didn't want to leave Bangkok and come back to Manila. But that's on the family side. Yung sa work side naman, medyo kakaiba. Because work was stressful for me. I guess I was given big responsibilities in Bangkok. Kasi even if I was based in Thailand, I was also asked to handle the Vietnam market. So I was handling 2 countries at the time for the business. And parang it felt as if everything was on my shoulders.
Okay.
So yun yung I guess that's the irony of it. as a family, we really enjoyed it. I mean, our family life was great, but work-wise, it was very stressful.
Okay. But before you went back to the Philippines, how was your work in Bangkok then? You said that you felt like you were so stressed and there was so much burden on you. How was it affecting you and your family?
Siguro, maybe at the time, because I wasn't really too mature yet in my faith. A lot of it was personal ambition and self-dependence. In fact, when things were getting very difficult, no, very challenging at work, when I felt everything fell on my shoulders, even at home, I was physically there, but I would be on my phone, I would be in my computer. So I was physically home, but not really home. If you get what I mean, no.
Yeah.
And siguro everything was really driven out of ambition,
Okay.
because early in life I had to provide for a very young family. We got married at a very young age. We had a lot of kids, already 5 kids when we moved to Bangkok. And siguro that ambition was driven because I wanted to provide everything for the kids and for Shai. So sa akin, my responsibilities at work, whatever was assigned to me, I would just say yes. No? And it got to a point siguro din na I ate more than I could chew. Di ba?
Yeah.
And siguro driven also by the fact na medyo bilib ako sa sarili ko and I thought I could do things on my own. So that was maybe the biggest challenge for me, in Bangkok.
How did it feel then? I mean, being an expat and you're in a foreign country, and usually you would have your support system here, di ba? Back home. So how was it for you then?
We joined BCBP Alabang before we left for Bangkok, no. So we were really very close with our action group mates, and up to now we're still very close. But since we were away at the time, I don't know if you still remember, Skype pa kami, no? Pag action group meeting, they would even invite us to join Skype. Wala pang Zoom at the time, no? And that was the only support I had. I joined, I joined a few circles, recollections. I even tried serving as a Eucharistic minister in the parish. Ganyan. But it was a very different experience because wala naman talaga akong makausap on a day-to-day basis because we were away.
Yeah. So how did it, I can imagine how much toll it took on you, like, being the head of the organization. And how were you able to, how are you able to be supported when during that time? And is this something that, really took a toll on your family as well?
Yeah, definitely. Well, sadly, at the time, I depended so much on myself. I mean, I was praying. Of course, I was praying, but I saw it more like parang magic pill.
Yeah.
Parang magic pill. When you need something, you take something, or maybe you go to the doctor, diba? So I treated prayer that way. And my prayer was more about siguro changing the situation I was in rather than changing myself. So I guess that's the sad part. And at the time, because kulang nga yung support group, instead of, for example, reaching out to the Lord in terms of help, it was more of a human type of reaching out, where I even I talked to an executive coach, instead of, I guess, talking to the Lord.
Yeah.
And it helped slightly, of course, but not completely.
So I can imagine that, before you went to Bangkok, you, of course, in your position, you probably played it all in your mind, how you're going to create that vision, how you're going to pursue it, and then there will be challenges along the way that probably you have prepared for. But would you say that you were, prepared for the situation that you encountered in Bangkok?
Siguro in terms of planning, it all started after graduation pa eh. Na I was really very ambitious. I had a goal in mind na by a certain age, I would reach a certain level at work. But going into Bangkok, of course, it was, well, at first it was really driven by personal ambition, no? Personal needs. Of course, the financially, it would be much better for us as a family. So it was driven out of that. And the preparation in terms of what I was expecting when I got there, nadaan din sa konting, self-belief or yabang na, because I knew, in fact, twice kami we had 2 stints in Thailand. The first time was in 2007, and then we were posted back here in 2010. And then 2012, the call to me was more about, we had a struggling business in Thailand. And so I was called to go back there. And nadaan, because of pride, I guess, I thought, kaya ko to, I can turn this around. And that was really the reason why we went there, why we went back, actually.
So when was the turning point where you started to your seeking the Lord out, during the situation? Were you still in Bangkok then?
Yeah, it was a blessing that fell on our lap, literally, because one day, one of the BCBP members who used to be from BCBP Calamba, so he was also based in Bangkok working for Pepsi. He just reached out to me. He was a stranger. I didn't know him. He sent me an email, and then we met up in the church on a Sunday. And then sabi lang niya sa akin, Jayvee, there's a plan to open BCBP here in Thailand. We'll start with a breakfast. So, can you help out? And ako, for some reason, I just said, sige, game. I'll help out. And then from there, and I owe him a lot. His name's Alvic, yeah. And even the teasers for this online, this Thirsty Thursday show, he was there. And I'm really grateful to him because he was really the instrument that brought me back to BCBP. So when I said yes to him, he just gave me so much things to do. I never even served before Bangkok. So he told me, Jayvee, wala tayong MC, ikaw yung mag-MC ng breakfast. Ako naman, syempre, yes lang ng yes. Di MC naman ako. Diba? And I'm not really comfortable with MCing. But I was kind of forced to do it. So that's what I did. And that started our service in Thailand. From the breakfast all the way to the first Christian Life program.
Wow.
And then basically the birth of BCBP in Bangkok. I was involved through Alvic. I mean, I'm really very grateful to Alvic.
Wow. So it seems that you were encountering the Lord all over again because you've been a member of BCBP for a long time already, even before you went to Bangkok, diba? So
yes.
How different was this experience now in Bangkok? How did you experience the Lord here?
Siguro yung Bangkok kasi we were thrust into service. Again, when we first joined BCBP in Alabang, 10 years before, Bangkok, we were very, very quiet members. And then soon after, we were already posted in Thailand. So, wala na. But in Bangkok, we were... I mean, when we first started, kaming dalawa lang ni Alvic, only 2 of us were BCBP members, and there were members who flew in from Manila to help us in the breakfast. So siguro the need to have something going on was the thing that prodded me to just serve kasi nobody else would do it.
So I guess iba yung that's how different it is, no? Because in Bangkok, it's not really a full chapter, right? It was a mission. It was considered a mission still, di ba?
Yeah. Well, now I'm very happy. They're now considered an outreach, no? So they've grown a lot since we left. Pero yun nga, as a mission, it only started with 2 of us. And I remember very clearly na yung first breakfast, we had 11 attendees in our first breakfast.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just grew and grew and grew. Now I think they're up to, I don't know, I think they have about 50 members, if I'm not mistaken.
So when you were there, like I can imagine you were taking on a lot of roles, probably one after the other. Kasi, di ba, very lean naman talagang team pag outreach, di ba? Pag mission pa lang, di ba?
Actually, may kwento ako doon. May kwento lang ako doon. Kasi one of the members there, nung sumali siya, sabi niya, grabe pala dito sa BCBP. Parang isang tumbling lang leader ka na. kasi nga ang konti namin, you know? So we were being elevated to, we were elevated to become action group leader after the first CLP. And then soon after, we were already unit leader as the community was growing. So, forced to grow. And I think for me, that was really the encounter. That whole experience of serving, in BCBP allowed us to attend many activities, learn a lot of, learn from the teachings, learn from the breakfast, from the experiences of others. And I don't know, I guess that was God's plan for us to teach us. In fact, that whole encounter for me was the thing that really gave me courage, to move on from the difficult situation I was in terms of work in Thailand.
Oh, so during that time, Jayvee, you were deep into service already. You were starting this. The way that I'm hearing you is parang an even deeper relationship with the Lord, diba? What did you feel about His leading? Where was He leading you to?
Mahirap sagutin yun. I think even up to now, no, I wouldn't know where it's leading me. Funnily, no, like, I don't know, it was maybe 2 weeks ago or last week lang na we had a breakfast, diba, here in Alabang. It was Dexter Cinco who was sharing. And he mentioned something about, the Lord will just give you a little bit of light to see where your next step will be. So I really wouldn't know where this would lead. No? Even in Bangkok, I didn't know where it would lead. But there was enough light that would, show me the next step. And for me, the next step that happened for me in Thailand was more of, the courage to resign, try something out, try something different. I mean, it was a very big decision because, of course, my family enjoyed all the perks of living abroad, overseas. The family was enjoying the life in Thailand, and we had to leave that all behind. So there was a lot of things there was a lot in our life that we had to let go of in a way. And I didn't have the courage to do that until the time that I was active in the BCBP. And it gave me the courage to leave. Literally, di ba? Sabi nga nila, it's a leap of faith. And for me, literally, it was a leap of faith. No? Hindi naman siya blindly na talagang leap. I mean, I had a plan, of course. But even then, alam mo, Dennis, the thing with this whole journey, diba? Yung spiritual journey for each of us, it's never really 180 degrees. I don't know if you, I know if you get it, no? Na, so you're sort of redirected, diba?
Yes.
In your encounters, in these
Mm.
encounters, you are redirected. And you are
Yes.
never really like turning around 180 degrees.
Oo.
Meaning later on there will be another encounter that will lead you to somewhere else. And
Oo.
yung first step na yon na when we decided to come back to Manila, well, ako pa nga lang yun eh. When I decided to come back to Manila, I thought I had a great plan. But it turns out I was wrong. I mean, when I came back to Manila, life was still difficult,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Pero again, the constant encounter lang eh.
Mm.
It's not really just one encounter. You encounter it every day, every single day.
Yes. Yes. Tama-tama, JV. Parang the way that I'm hearing you is there's some sort of a change in perspective, no? So, let me pick up this question from our viewer, from Roberto Atendido.
To my
To my
brother from
brother
another
from another
from
mother.
another.
JV, how has your perspective changed in regards to the meaning of ambition at work and in service?
Yeah, I think in terms of ambition, diba? I'm sure all of us, most of us siguro, we have our personal goals, right? And yun nga, as I said earlier, right after college, I already had my personal goal. I already had my work goals. Siguro in terms of perspective, how it has changed is there is now this, what do you call it? It's like a higher aspiration beyond my personal goal. Kumbaga, di ba, a lot of people say, like Simon Sinek, he says, start with why. Even other, coaches tell you, start with your objective, etc. So the why is now, I guess, higher in terms of perspective, na beyond myself, beyond my own goals for my family. Of course, my goals for my family are still there. I'm still as much committed to my family as I was before. But there is a higher why. I think in terms of why I'm doing this. And the beauty of it is parang having that new perspective on a higher why, or a higher meaning God, no? Aspiring to be with God. Naturally, the how, di ba, also changes eh. Naturally, He takes care of your how. Whereas before, I would panic, I would be so confused as to what I would do. Diba? When I'm confronted with a very important decision, or a heavy challenge in life, I would really, think about it. What am I gonna do? But somehow, when the perspective on the why changes, the how follows. Eh. Kasi feeling ko lang. I mean, it's just a feeling, right? Na there's guidance from above.
Nice. Yeah. So, JV, since you have a parang, let's call it a higher why, diba? And because of that why, it's you've also aligned with how the Lord is going to enable and empower you in pursuing that why. That's where the how comes in, diba? So, in what ways have you seen the Lord's hand work alongside what it is that you were pursuing in terms of aligning it with the Lord's purpose?
Maraming episodes yan, Dennis.
Yeah.
Siguro the first thing I can think of is like BCMR, diba? Or the marriage retreat, for example. The marriage retreat. So for me and Shai, we attended the marriage retreat. Sobrang layo pa. We attended it in Malaybalay, in Bukidnon. That was back in 2017. At the time, we were still living in two different countries. I was back here in Manila. Si Shai and two of our kids were still staying in Bangkok because they were finishing school. Ganyan. Up to that point, we weren't really sure whether, Shai and the two other kids would come back, ako, or if I would go back to Bangkok. We were unsure about it. But, when we attended the BCMR, it allowed us to clarify what was important to us as a family. So siguro yun yung guidance that we got eh. And that retreat actually allowed us to talk about shared goals. Not just my goal, not just Shai's goal, but both of us. So yun, that's maybe one episode. Another episode I can think of is something very recent. No, it's called BCBP started this Institute for Business Transformation. So I was involved in the pilot. In fact, earlier this evening there was a session. No? Siguro yung BCBP became a place of solace for me, even in Bangkok. But for me, it was the only solitude I could find. Na whenever I would attend a breakfast, for example, or whenever we would be in an action group meeting, I would find solace, diba, from daily life, away from daily life. But the challenge there remained to be, when I got out of a BCBP activity, I was struggling. Diba? So I was struggling outside. I couldn't find peace when I was in the office. And I couldn't find peace anywhere else except in a BCBP activity. But this IBT, or Institute for Business Transformation, taught us, you have to live an integrated and not a divided life. And I'm working on it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm there. I'm working on it. Because that's where I realized na, I guess that's the vehicle or the vessel, diba? Or instrument ng guidance from the Lord. Now, look, you have to work on combining your life or making it an integrated life. Now, your life in community, your life in church, your life at home, your life at work, they're all aligned. They should all be aligned. So, yun yung that's another realization for me.
That's nice, no? And I think also, as you were saying that you have this new perspective, it's like you have this new mindset. How is it now, when you look back, wherein you kind of take on a lot of responsibility, and you're alone in doing this? How does it feel now that you feel that there's a mighty power, behind your effort? How do you look at things now?
How do I look at things now? I think yun nga our perspective generally, at least for me, my perspective before was really I'm in this current situation of difficulties. I'm trying to get out of it, right? But throughout the past few years, siguro, the best thing that I realized is, when you talk about God's time and God's timing, right? It's really infinite, diba? So when you struggle, when I struggle, ang naiisip ko na lang ngayon is, maybe I'm struggling for 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 years. But when you take it from a perspective of what's the fraction, diba? What is 5 years compared to eternity? I mean, it's really nothing. So I take on that perspective now, na when I go through difficulties, especially now, diba, pandemic, we don't even know when this will end. It started last year, so we've been in this situation for more than a year already. We don't know when it will end. But if, let's say, it ends next year, so sabihin na lang natin 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. But if you take it, I've taken the position na, maybe we need to live through all of this. But it's a period of time where, compared to, a lifetime, is really nothing.
When I hear you and what what I'm hearing you say is that you're really congruent. Parang what the Lord is, what the Lord's wishes are. You feel it in your heart. You act upon it, and then you also seek the Lord in doing this. Would you say that with everything that you've experienced, the Lord has been preparing you for this? I mean, you are our chapter head when everything parang started with this new normal of doing things, diba? Your installation was online, our CLP was online, and despite of all these restrictions, I personally say as a member, I feel that the chapter is thriving. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I think no. There's a reason for everything, right? I mean, I don't pretend to be a saint. In fact, feeling ko nga, it's all about doing or trying. But trying, it's really about trying to get better, trying to be a better person. And for me, I don't see it as a wow. It's like I've been asked to be the chapter head and be a chapter head during this whole pandemic. It can overwhelm, kumbaga, di ba? To some extent, it can overwhelm. Pero for me, ang naiisip ko na lang talaga is, if I work on myself, try to be better, get to a point where I'm closer I'm closer in terms of my relationship with the Lord. I'm closer to my family and all of these things. If I try to fill my own cup, kasi diba sabi nga nila, you can't pour from an empty cup. So I need to work on myself. So my only hope and prayer here is really, if I'm able to fill my own cup, hopefully, it will inspire my kids. It will inspire Shai, my wife. It will inspire, my friends, the community, even at work, diba? So, yun lang. Siguro yun yung that's really the only thing I can do.
Jayvee, there's so much to take away from our conversation, and I'm sure our viewers have their own insights and realizations as well, no, from this conversation. Now, for me, I realized that we can be so focused on our dreams and ambitions, and but we seldom ask ourselves, why are we pursuing them, diba? What resonates with me with our conversation is the importance of our why, diba? Our purpose, the reason behind what we are pursuing. And I guess if we seek the Lord and when we trust His plans, our why becomes clearer, and so the how becomes even more doable as we depend on Him to take us through the fruition of His plans for us, diba? So, Jayvee, what message would you like to leave us with?
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about the why, diba? Siguro I'll leave na lang with those with that message as well. For me, I still have personal goals, of course. I still have a lot of goals in life. But what is most important for me now is there's a goal above all of those goals that I have for myself. And you were talking about the why. And siguro if the why is redefined, at least for me, if the why is redefined with God in there, God will redefine your how. Diba? So yun, I guess that's my message, Dennis.
Galing, Jayvee. Thank you so much, Jayvee, for sharing your journey of faith with us. It's an honor to be guesting here.
Thank you. Actually, gusto kita i-interview Ikaw yung gusto ko i-interview.
Baka magtanong tayo kung mayroong bonus episode.
Kasi pinilit mo ako to do this
You have such a powerful story to tell, Jayvee, and I thank you for sharing that. You have reminded us of our trip of our true purpose as God's children, which is to trust Him and to do His will. And, in behalf of the members of BCBP Alabang, I thank you for leading our chapter courageously, especially during these uncertain times.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. At least di
Now,
mo
this
ako
has
masyado
been
pinahirapan tonight.
This has been a truly impactful and inspiring evening. And to all our viewers, and in behalf of the mission team of BCBP Alabang, we are honored and privileged to have taken this journey of faith with you this season. Thank you so much for your support and for giving us so much inspiration. I hope that this story and all the other stories that we were blessed to share have inspired you and have drawn you even closer to our God, who is ever faithful, generous, loving, and merciful. We hope that every story that we shared filled you with the living water, which is Christ. And it is our prayer that you continue to thirst for more. Please subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for BCBP Alabang. And remember to give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for notifications. This is Dennis Bunye, and this is Thirsty Thursdays. Stay thirsty.
Me a better person because I saw in him his dedication, commitment to continue the BCBP. Even I left Bangkok in 2016. So he has the same problem that time, but yet he made his promise fulfilled by flying in and out of Bangkok just to continue the breakfast. First, I want to thank you and Chai for always remembering me and Tess, and for your caring messages to us, and not forgetting us in any of the important events that you had in BCBP. And finally, I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you next time at the national level. Good luck and God bless.
My message to Jayvee, I'm going to lift from a not so popular TV series when we both started working back in the early 90s. And it goes, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, even your year, I'll be there for you. Whether you're going through a tiny puddle or a one big fight. That's for you, Javes.
Please continue to be a gift to your family, to your friends, and to the country.
So I wish you, Jayvee, all the best and continued prayers in the shepherding people closer to Christ through BCBP. See you soon.
I just want to thank him for loving me, for loving Jeff, Rafael, Andy, and Danny, our whole family. And I just want him to know that I love him too. Dam, I love you and thank you for everything.
Happy
We
birthday.
love you. Belated Happy Father's
You're
Day.
50.
Belated Happy Father's Day.
Advance 51st.
Advanced and belated
51st.
50th and
We
51st.
love you.
We love you.
We miss you.
Yay!
Hi, Jayvee. We just want to say thank you very much for all that you do, for always watching out for us, for our family, 5 kids and myself. Thank you very much for always taking care of us, spending time and making sure that all of our needs are met. We are grateful to have you as the head of the family, and we wish you nothing but the best always. Love you.
All right. Cheers, man.
Nice. Cheers.
Cheers, Jayvee.
Ay. Thank you
Salamat,
for all the
salamat.
videos. Thank you for all the videos. Si Alvic, si Arvin, Popoy, Philip, and of course, Shy and the kids, no?
Yes, thank you very much, Shai.
I will
for,
hug them
for-
later. I will hug them
Yes.
later. Ano, Dennis? Ako naman mag-i-interview sa'yo. So,
Hindi,
Dennis,
meron
what's
pa
your
ako isang
story?
tanong. May isa pa
What's
akong
your
tanong.
story?
You know, JV, I've worked with you, since you came back here, and when you started out with Mission, diba? We were doing market evangelization at that time, and from when we were doing that up to now, it's super different, diba? And yet here you are, uh, leading the chapter as our chapter head. How are you doing it now? What's your experience?
Uh, it it's tough in a way, 'di ba? Kasi
Yeah.
when you're thrust into a new service, you don't know exactly what to do. You don't know everything, right? So you really just need to trust na um, sabi nga ni si Tito Frank parati nagsasabi sa atin, 'di ba? When God qualifies the called, right? And I do believe in that. Tapos yun nga, yung na-mention ko kanina, na for me not to be overwhelmed lang, 'di ba, with shepherding a chapter, taking care of a chapter. I view it na lang as I need to take care of the governance team. And hopefully, if I take care of the governance team will take care of their action group leaders, the action group leaders will take care of the members. Ganon ko na lang siya iniisip. In a way, para siyang di ba? It's like ano bang comparison ko siya? It's like an inverted organizational chart. Actually, it's funny, no? Di ba, yung organizational chart, you typically pag ganyan yung shape niya, di ba? Triangle.
Yes.
Ito I think of it as more of an inverted triangle. Na as the chapter head, I'm actually at the bottom. I'm actually at the bottom because my role is to serve, di ba, the chapter. Yes. And I'm at the bottom. I'm really the servant, right? And if I'm able to, yun na lang parati iniisip ko, if I take care of the governance team, I take care of the unit leaders, the directors, and to the best of my ability, inspire them. Hopefully, they do the same with their action group leaders, their ministry heads, and then they do the same with their members. Kasi if I think of it as, gosh, I have to take care of 300 members, talagang masisiraan ako ng bait. Diba?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and I know I remember also you saying that the way that we're doing it online is also a blessing because you can be several places all at the same time.
Exactly.
Diba?
Actually, it has given us the chance to join action group meetings. Diba? We would jump from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting and then we can attend. If this were face to face, we would not have the opportunity to actually visit the action groups. So it's really a blessing kasi ngayon we can pray with members, diba? Kasi like in Zoom, even if our members attend the activity, there's no opportunity naman to chit-chat diba? Kasi ang dami niyo sa Zoom so we felt, kami ni Shai, sabi namin, the only way for us to actually converse and have a meaningful conversation with the members is to join the action group meeting.
Yes.
At least we get to diba? May opportunity kami to chat with them, ganyan, pray with them. In fact, just last night, kwento ko lang to, last night we joined an action group meeting and diba kanina we were talking about encounters and how it's never really just one encounter. It's several encounters over time and it's a daily encounter in fact. And last night when we joined an action group meeting, there was a very difficult question to answer. Ang tanong was, what do you think is God's mission for you? So, ang hirap sagutin, di ba? Ang hirap sagutin. Pero, for me, it got me thinking And I think, it's very good to reflect on it, di ba? And ako, naisip ko na lang dun is, for myself, I'm given different roles, di ba? I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a sibling, a friend, a worker, a boss, diba? A subordinate. So I have different missions for each one, for each of those roles. And siguro in those different roles that I play, really the best thing I can do is if I can be the best self to them, And hopefully it, resonates with them, it inspires them, and yun na lang, di ba? Parang circle of influence mo na lang eh.
Yeah.
And then if you're given a bigger circle eventually, then additional blessing pa yun, right?
So you feel that, that's God's mission for you?
Yeah, but it might change. Sabi naman nila, di ba, a mission is time-bound eh. So maybe tomorrow the mission will change.
Sarap ng kwentuhan, Jave. So, tuloy natin to some other time.
Itatanong pa kita eh, what's your story, Dennis? Last episode na to, so kailangan ikaw yung sumagot.
Kailangan mga 3 episodes yun para makumpleto natin. Pare ko, cheers. Maraming salamat, Jayvee. It's an honor. It's an honor to be and privilege to be serving alongside you. Maraming salamat, Jayvee.
You made it difficult for me, but I will thank you na rin. Thank you na rin. Cheers.
Cheers, bro.